Hello friends, welcome back, and in this lesson we are going to discuss about PostgreSQL in Azure. But let's quickly discuss what exactly is PostgreSQL and why is it special. So PostgreSQL is a hybrid relational object database. You can store data in relational tables. But PostgreSQL database also enable you to store custom data types with their own non-relational properties. The database management system is extensible. You can add basically the code modules to the database, which can be run by queries. Now, another key feature is the ability to store and manipulate geometric data like lines, circles, or polygons. PostgreSQL has its own query language that is called PGSQL. This language is a variant of the standard relational query language, that is SQL, which features that enable you to write store procedures that can run inside the database. Now, Azure also support PostgreSQL, and if you prefer to use PostgreSQL in Azure, you can use Azure Database for PostgreSQL. This is a PaaS service, platform as a service, for PostgreSQL database engine in Azure. So if it is a PaaS service, that means it will provide all the features of platform as a service, like availability, performance, scaling, security, administrative benefits. Basically, it's a managed service. It provides all the support and management to the service. PostgreSQL is a high available service. That means it contains built-in failure detection and failover mechanism. Now, another good feature in Azure is that Azure Database for PostgreSQL servers record information about the queries run against the databases on the server and save them into the database, which name actually azure.sys. And you can query this table azure.sys.qs_view to see this information. And you can use this information to monitor the queries that users are running. And if you think carefully, this information can really be invaluable if you need to fine-tune the queries performed in your application. Now, there are some features of on-premises PostgreSQL server database which are exactly not available in Azure database. These features are mainly concerned with the extension that user can add to the database to perform some kind of specialized task, like writing a store procedure in various programming language other than PGSQL. Maybe you want to interact directly with the operating system. So these kind of extensions are not available, but most of the core extensions are available and supported. And also all these extensions are periodically reviewed, and they keep adding more and more extensions in the Azure. But from a security point of view, they have choose to not add these extensions in the Azure. Now, another good news is that those users who used to use a PG admin tool, so this is a good news for them because they can continue using this tool in Azure. Basically, this tool can be used to manage and monitor PostgreSQL database. However, there are some server focused functionality like performing server backups or restore. So these functionalities are not available, obviously because the server is managed and maintained by Azure, so you don't have to do it manually. Now, there are two ways to interact with this database. The first one is pSQL to query a database. So we can use this command line within the Azure using the Azure Cloud Shell. Or if you want, you can also use this on your desktop computer. But for that, you have to download and install pSQL client from postgresql.org website. So you can download it, install it, and then you can use the command line interface. Or other option is you can also use Azure Data Studio. So this is the free tool, as we know, available from Azure. You can download, install it, and you can use this tool. This provide the user interface, and using this tool we can interact with PostgreSQL and we can execute our query. So we are going to have a demo. Now in that demo I'll be using Azure Data Studio tool and we'll be interacting with PostgreSQL. But before that, I want to create a PostgreSQL in Azure. So the first step will be creating Azure database for PostgreSQL. And then I will use the Azure Data Studio tool to interact with this database. So let's go to the portal and quickly create Azure database for PostgreSQL. All right, friends. So right now I'm inside my Azure portal. And on the left hand side here, you can see that I can use create a resource. So I can click here. And if I search here, either I can search or I can go to databases and I should be able to see PostgreSQL, Azure database for PostgreSQL. Or I can also search here just in case, Azure database for PostgreSQL. And you can find it here and you can click here. Now we can create a new instance of Azure database for PostgreSQL. So let me click on create. Now I have option here, single server and hyperscale, flexible and Arc enabled PostgreSQL hyperscale. They both are in preview. They have very recently added. So what is a hyper server group? So hyper Citus server group is a deployment option that scales queries across multiple server nodes to support a large database loads. So your database is split across different nodes, and data is split into chunks based on the value of the partition key or sharding key. Now you can consider using this deployment option for a large database PostgreSQL deployments in Azure. Otherwise, for this deployment, we can just use a single server deployment option. So let me go ahead and click on create here to create a single server deployment option. And now, as with any other service, we have this form which we need to fill up to create this instance of PostgreSQL in Azure. So first step is, as always, we have to select the subscription. Second step, we have to choose the resource group. So I'm using RG course demo. This resource group I use to record all my demos so that I can delete all the demos after the recording. But you can create a separate resource group if you want. And as we know that resource group is to organize resources within Azure. And here we need to provide the server name. So maybe I can provide name PostgreSQL. And this is available. So that is good. Now, do I want a backup or I want to create a blank database? So I'm fine with a blank database here. And location, I can choose West US 2. This is nearest to me. Version, I'm fine with the default version, which is 10. And now here we have to configure the compute and storage. So we have different options here. We have the basic, we have general purpose, and we have memory optimized version here. But for demo purpose, I'm fine with the lowest one and probably the cheapest one. So I will reduce my vCourse here, and I will also try to reduce my storage here to the lowest. So this is also lowest. So I can see that this is going to cost me $25 per month, which should be fine. So let me click on OK here to choose the compute and storage. Now next step is I have to choose login credentials to the server. So password does not match here. Okay, now this is good. So I can go to additional setting, but I don't want to choose anything as of now. I will keep everything default, and tags and all these settings we can change later also. So I will just click on review and create, and I can quickly take a look that all the configuration which I just selected, like version is 10, West US 2 is the location, my resource group, the cost it is going to I'm going to have for per month. So everything looks good here. I will click on create to provision this instance of PostgreSQL in Azure. Now this is going to take a few minutes, so probably I'll just pause my recording here and I'll come back as soon as this deployment completes. All right, friends, so the deployment has been completed. I can click to go to the source to go inside the Azure database for PostgreSQL server. And this is our brand new PostgreSQL database within Azure. And this is ready to start working. So I want to access now this database from my Azure Data Studio. Now, before I go ahead and start using Azure Data Studio, if you remember, the setting here is security, which we need to change, and we need to allow our IP address to the firewall so that it allows my Azure Data Studio to connect with this database. So I will click on add current client IP address, and this will take my local laptop IP address here, and I can click on save. So now this will add this IP address into the firewall so that I will be able to connect using Azure Data Studio. Before I go from here, one last thing, in the overview page, you can look at the server name here, and I can copy it from here, and you can also see the username. So we will need both of these information to connect from Azure Data Studio. So I'll come back here to take both of these information, but right now let me go back to the Azure Data Studio. And by the way, if you do not have Azure Data Studio, just Google Azure Data Studio download, and the very first link you will find here, you will have option to download this free tool for Windows, Mac, or Linux. So you can download it. It's a pretty handy, pretty light tool. You can install it, and after installation you can open it, and let me take you forward from there. All right, so right now I'm inside the Azure Data Studio tool. Before we start working, I want to make sure that if you're using this tool first time, you have a PostgreSQL extension. So, I mean, obviously if you're using this first time, you would not have. So you can click here and search for PostgreSQL, and you can install it from here. So once you will install, you can see all the available extensions here, and PostgreSQL should be available here so that we can connect to the Azure PostgreSQL database. And after that, you can come here on the home page and you can click here to the new connection. And here we need to provide the server name. So let me go back to portal and grab the server name. All right, once again, I'm in the portal and I can copy this server name from here, and I will paste it to my Data Studio. All right, so I can paste this server name here. Now the next step is to authentication type. I will choose SQL authentication, and I will provide username and password. So username, once again, I can copy from the portal. All right, so you can see here admin username. So I can copy this username from here, and I can paste this username here, and the password is the same which we choose while configuring this, while provisioning this service. I can click on remember password, and let's see if it can fetch our database. So let's choose default as of now, and let's see if we are able to connect with here. All right, it says the connection was successfully established with the server, but then the error occurred during the pre-login handshake. Provider HTTP provider error 0. Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot to change the connection type. Actually, we are trying to connect with PostgreSQL here. So let me choose the server name here. Once again, authentication type is password, and username we already have it, password we have it. Let's try if it can fetch the database here. Right here we can see that it is able to find the database name inside the PostgreSQL. All right, so let's try to connect this time, and I hope this is able to connect now. Yes, it is. All right, so I can click on the new query here to run the new query in my new database, and here I can create another database actually that's called AdventureWorks. So I will click on run here, and hopefully this should complete successfully and create a new server. All right, so this is completed successfully. Now let me go ahead and create a table inside this database and insert few rows in this table. This is completed successfully. Now let me go ahead and fetch the data from this table which we just created, and you can see that we have this table and the data which we can use now for our purpose. So once again, in this chapter, I wanted to tell you that what exactly is PostgreSQL, what it means to use this database inside the Azure, what are all the functionalities Azure provide, how to create PostgreSQL in Azure, and how to interact with this database using Azure Data Studio. Alright, so one last thing before we wrap up, we want to make sure that we delete this resource if you are not going to use it, because it is costing us, I think it's $25 or $30 per month. Let's check it how much it is. So if we go to the pricing tier, we can see that it is going to cost me $25 per month. So roughly $1 a day. But still, why we want to give $1 if you are not going to use it anyway? So let's come to this overview page, and you have option here to delete the resource. So you can just click on delete, and there's a small feedback, which you can skip here, and you need to mention the name of the database here. So I will just mention the name of my resource here, and I will click, and then it says that once you delete this, Azure maintenance, adventure work, all of these resources associated with this database, everything will be deleted, and this is irreversible. So you want to make sure that you are really not going to use it. If you have your database and data here, before you delete, understand that this step is irreversible. All right, so let's click on delete, and this is going to delete this resource maybe in few seconds. And that is the end of this lesson. Thank you.